Hello everybody. So I'm here just to present some of the facts in the timeline of the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan, dating back to the beginning of last year. So I'll just start by saying the Trump administration in February of 2020, last year, negotiated a withdrawal agreement with the Taliban, and this agreement did not involve the Afghan government. It included freeing 5,000 Taliban soldiers from prison and set a specific date of May 1st, 2021 for the complete withdrawal of U.S. forces. Trump reduced the troop count from 13,000 to 2,500 while still in office. Biden delayed the final withdrawal until August 31st. He originally delayed it till September 11th, but then they could see things were happening with the Taliban, so they moved that up to August 31st. So the Trump administration officially reached the deal with the Taliban on February 29, 2020. On March 1st, 2020, Afghan President Ashraf Ghani objects to releasing 5,000 Taliban fighters from prison. So he finally agrees to, he finally agrees to release them, but he's going to do it in increments over a much longer period of time. And he was upset because he and the Afghan government were not involved in the negotiation talks. On March 19th, 2020, the Department of Defense Inspector General report said troop levels were cut by more than 4,000 that quarter, even though the Taliban increased their violence after signing the deal. So the Taliban were violating the deal, but we dropped the troop count from 13,000 to 8,600. At the same time, the Taliban was escalating violence. On August 18th, 2020, Department of Defense Inspector General's office released a report covering April 1st to June 30th of 2020 and said the Taliban did not appear to uphold its commitment to distance itself from terrorist organizations in Afghanistan. The United Nations and the United States officials reported that the Taliban continued to support Al-Qaeda and conducted joint attacks with Al-Qaeda members against Afghan national defense and security forces. On September 3rd, the final 400 Taliban prisoners were released. On September 12th, peace talks between the Afghanistan government officials and the Taliban officials began in Qatar, in the city of Doha. On October 7th of last year, Trump tweeted on Twitter, "We should have the small remaining number of our brave men and women serving in Afghanistan home by Christmas." The then Secretary of Defense, Mark Esper, was against this, and he said that would be a dangerous move, and so after the election he was fired for warning against this. On November 17th, 2020, Acting Defense Secretary Christopher Miller, and Christopher Miller was the successor to Mark Esper after he was fired, but Acting Defense Secretary Christopher Miller announced that the U.S. will reduce U.S. forces in Afghanistan to 2,500 by January 15th, 2021. On the same day, the Department of Defense Inspector General released a quarterly report for the time frame ending in September 30th, 2020. That said, the Taliban was increasing its attacks and violence against Afghan forces, which caused peace talks to stall. On January 15th of this year, Acting Defense Secretary Christopher Miller announced that U.S. forces had been drawn down to the 2,500 level, and at this time, former Afghanistan Vice President Amrullah Saleh said the Trump administration made too many concessions to the Taliban. On February 3rd, the Afghan Study Group released its final report. Congress created this group, and its purpose was to identify policy recommendations that consider the implications of a peace settlement or the failure to reach a settlement. So this Afghan Study Group was created by Congress to provide recommendations. It said that if there is to be a withdrawal of the U.S. military, there needs to be significant revisions of U.S. policy. The most important revision is to ensure that a complete withdrawal of U.S. troops is based not on an inflexible timeline, but on all parties fulfilling their commitments, including the Taliban making good on its promises to contain terrorist groups and reduce violence against the Afghan people, and making promises to achieve a political settlement. Other revisions it recommended is to extend the May 1st, 2021 withdrawal date, and Biden did that by extending to August 31st. And it also recommended continued support for courageous members of Afghan civil society. On February 19th of this year, Biden reiterates his campaign promise to bring U.S. troops home from Afghanistan. On April 14th, Biden announced that all troops will be removed from Afghanistan by September 11th. He later revised that to August 31st. On April 15th, the Taliban, in response to Biden's delay in the withdrawal from May 1st to September 11th, the Taliban said that the failure to complete the withdrawal by May 1st opens the way for the Taliban to take every necessary countermeasure, and they also said that anything that happens from now on will be the responsibility of the United States. On May 18th, the Department of Defense Inspector General report covering the first 3 months of this year said that the Taliban had increased its attacks against Afghan government forces and was preparing with Al-Qaeda for large-scale offensives against population centers and Afghan government installations. The Taliban took control of its first province, the capital of Nimran's province, on August 6th. On August 15th, Taliban fighters entered Kabul and the Afghan president fled the country. And then after that, I don't even need to say, you've all seen it in the news, what's been happening. We did the withdrawal and sadly lost a lot of lives, including 12 Marines and a Navy medic. Now I want to mention something else. The president of the Brookings Institution is John R. Allen. He is a retired U.S. Marine Corps 4-star general, and he is the former commander of the NATO International Security Assistance Force and former commander of U.S. forces in Afghanistan. He led all U.S. and NATO forces in Afghanistan from 2011 till 2013. General Allen said, "The Taliban are untrustworthy. Their doctrine is irreconcilable with modernity and the rights of women, and in practice they're incapable of summoning the necessary internal controls and organizational discipline needed to implement a far-flung agreement like this. The Taliban are many things. They are drug dealers, violent abusers of women, and terrorists, but there is one thing they are not, and that is stupid." That's from General Allen, the president of the Brookings Institution. So I just wanted to do a little research and share some of the timeline of the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Hope this information is helpful if you haven't been following it, but again, I'm not giving my opinion, I'm just presenting facts of the withdrawal timeline. So thank you very much and have a good day.